Good morning everyone and welcome. My name's Simon Kelly. I'm the Acting Executive Director for the Communications, Culture and Engagement Division within the Queensland Police Service, and it's a real privilege to accept the invite to MC today's event. Just a housekeeping matter, if I could just ask everyone please, anyone with mobile phones here today, just please either switch them to flight mode or put them on silent. Thank you. As I said, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this historical event, the Queensland Police Service Apology and Statement of Regret to LGBTIQ+ communities. And today, we're also proud to raise the LGBTIQ+ flag outside of police headquarters as a visible beacon to illuminate our shared hopes for the future. Before we commence, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional owners and custodians of the lands, winds and waters on which we so proudly serve our community. It is a privilege and an honour to be on the traditional country in which today's event is taking place. We acknowledge elders of the past, present and future, for they are the holders of culture, knowledge, wisdom and leadership that is passed from generation to generation. I'd also like to acknowledge all those here today, from our LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy communities, and to those individuals and organisations who so passionately advocate for them. I also welcome members of the Queensland Police Service Executive, including one of our LGBTIQ+ internal champions, Acting Deputy Chief Executive Paul Freedman, and I also acknowledge two Assistant Commissioners, Brian Connors and Brian Codd, who are unfortunately unable to be here today. I further acknowledge representatives of our three unions, and then finally I welcome and acknowledge Rebecca Johnson, President of Brisbane Pride Incorporated, and her committee members for their commitment to this apology journey. I'm now pleased to invite Arnie Dawn Daylight to deliver a welcome to country.
There's a lot of people to remember, and my vinegar is not so good, and my batteries go flat. And I just want to welcome everybody here today. This is a really special event for me as an older LGBT community person, as a younger woman, and I pay my respects to those people and the lands that we are on, Yagara people, Turrbal mob, as I am one of those. I was born in Ipswich in the 1940s, a long time ago. I pay my respects to our elders, past, present and emerging, to our brother boys, to our sister girls, to the mob, to the police, to the unions, to all those people that were mentioned. Like I said, my vinegar is no good, so. And probably my mind, I'm getting very old. I'll be 76 next month, so I'm not expected to remember all those things. But I do work in communities. I've been working ever since I can crawl, I think, out in the bush, chasing iguanas, snakes, lobsters, prickly pears and all those things. Sitting out in the bush, out in the desert a couple of months ago. So I've been around for a very long time. I actually take pillows and blankets and tents like to mob up in the park, that's up in the park now. So yesterday, today I deliver things like that. And that's the kind of work that I would like to continue on for the next 10, 20, 30 years that I have left. And I actually have very good friends who work in the police force. One sister over there, I call her my sister because she treats me like a human being. Her name's Sergeant Sandy over at West End. And I'm not going to rave on too much because I think there's a lot of beautiful things we're going to hear, a lot of sad things we might also hear. And I've never been locked up, I've never been arrested or anything like that. And yeah, maybe some of my grannies, my nephews and maybe my nieces. And in the earlier times I had uncles that were black trackers and just things like that. And so I do have a lot of respect for the bullymen here in police and people in blue. But thank you very much for listening to me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnie Dawn. Before we go any further, we recognise that today's event may be emotional and could raise deeply felt feelings of sadness and loss. So within the room we have a number of mental health connectors from the Queensland Council for LGBTI Health who can provide care and support should you wish. And can I just ask, and see another in the back of the room, if you could just stand just to identify yourselves. And thank you very much for your participation today as well. It's now my pleasure to invite Queensland Police Service Commissioner Carroll to address you.
Absolutely wonderful to be here and to look across this room and to listen to the chatter, and I think something that we've all been looking forward to and waiting for an extended period of time. I too would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians and owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to pay my respects and recognise the unwavering dedication of elders, senior leaders of the Queensland LGBTIQ+, sister girl and brother boy communities, and countless other members of the community who have been part of this journey and have all played such an important role in shaping not only today but also the future. Thank you, Auntie Dawn Daylight, for your welcome to country and for all the work that you have done to improve the lives of First Nations peoples and LGBTIQ+, sister girl and brother boy communities. Sincere thank you. Earlier this week, on Sunday in fact, I had the opportunity to meet with some of our elder and senior community leaders. In particular, I would like to thank Auntie Dawn, Shane Weil, Bill Rutkin and John Ebbett, who are here today. Welcome to you all, for your courage and for trusting me with your personal stories, which have caused deep suffering to you and those close to you. Your poise during that morning was humbling and a testament to your strength and to your generosity. To say that your stories gave me a greater understanding and insight into the weight many LGBTIQ+ sister girls and brother boys carries is an understatement. So again, a sincere thank you to you all. I am also fully aware the work for this apology commenced many years ago. To those community members and to my own staff who have advocated for this apology, I thank you for your commitment along this journey. Last year, the Queensland Police Service and the Committee of the Brisbane Pride Incorporated committed to collaborate on a formal apology to LGBTI communities for historical mistreatment to be delivered in early 2023. Today, I do not intend to give or provide an apology to LGBTI communities. Instead, I am offering it. I offer it with no expectation of acceptance. I offer it because I think it is long overdue, and with the hope that it may ease some of the pain and provide some healing. Our apology to you is this. The Queensland Police Service is proud that over the past 30 years, we have built an emerging and positive relationship between our organisation and LGBTIQ+ communities. This partnership was made possible by both the dedicated members of the service and the LGBTI community, who strive to cultivate a new era of respect that transcended the past. From strengthening our LGBTIQ+ liaison program to better serve the community, marching alongside the community at Pride events, to forming an employee support network to connect our LGBTI community people, we have created a better and more representative policing organisation in Queensland. Yet, there comes a time where in order for a relationship to genuinely grow, an acknowledgement of the past harm is necessary. Despite the progress we have made, we must acknowledge for much of its history, The Queensland Police Service inflicted profound pain upon Queensland's LGBTIQ+ people by enforcing laws that criminalise homosexuality between consenting adults. While the organisation may have been enforcing the laws at the time, it was nonetheless wrong and contributed to immense anguish for many. To all those directly and indirectly impacted by the discrimination and prejudice by these laws, which were enforced by the Queensland Police Service, I am sorry for this profound hurt and pain. I am also sorry to those within my own organisation who experienced this discrimination and prejudice. I embrace the opportunity at every point in this healing journey to positively impact the future. And I hope that through this apology and statement of regret, we can begin the next chapter and build upon the monumental progress of recent years. We may not always get everything right, but discrimination towards LGBTIQ+ people is not acceptable, and the Queensland Police Service will continue to work to eliminate it. The future is bright, and I look forward to continuing to work with your communities to build an inclusive and representative policing service so that you can be proud of. To all of you here today, I sincerely thank you for coming. Promoting trust and understanding and celebrating diversity is so important to me. It's important to our organisation. Ensuring a safe, fair and inclusive policing response for all people, regardless of their sexuality, gender identity or sex characteristics, is a responsibility that I take personally. I give you my guarantee that this is the first of many steps. I will continue to work closely with representatives of the LGBTIQ+, sister girl and brother boy communities to strengthen our understanding and embrace the possibility of a genuinely diverse future together. A sincere thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Could I ask that you please join me again at the podium as I introduce our next speaker. I'd now like to invite Rebecca Johnson, President, Brisbane Pride Incorporated, to provide a community response to the Commissioner's apology. However, before I hand over to Rebecca, the Commissioner would like to present Brisbane Pride Incorporated with a copy of the Queensland Police Service apology as a symbol and reminder to you all of our commitment to your communities.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the apology today, much anticipated. And we have continued to work together, the service and the community and members of Pride, through milestones, and it's very appreciated. I'm pleased to be here with you all today in this historic moment for the Queensland LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy communities, families and peoples. I acknowledge and pay my respects to the Turrbal and the Yagara people, to the traditional custodians of the lands and waterways and the skies of the Yagara and Turrbal peoples, and I extend my respect to elders past and present. I acknowledge our most loved and cherished Elder Unadorned Daylight. Through everything, you are with us, Aunt, welcoming us and providing us with your words of wisdom to keep us grounded and aware of the role that we play in building a strong and accepted and proud community together. I acknowledge the Queensland Police Service Commissioner Carroll. Thank you for your remarkable leadership and for your tenacity as we have positively moved through the milestones and the hard conversations relating to the apology. And through right passage of way, today I acknowledge those LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy community members that are no longer with us, but were resilient in the protest to stop the mistreatment of our community, to cease the bashings and the death threats, and to call out and name homophobia and racism for what it is. Today, we remember the legends that came before us. We acknowledge and stand here in solidarity today with those members of our communities who have survived. Both those in the room and those across the state will hear this apology today and will remember their experience. We hope that this brings you some peace. Listening to lived experiences has been very hard, very challenging. To those of my own values, the stories of Pride events being met with threats of arrest for offensive behaviour, such as holding hands and kissing. It has been hard to hear the stories of trauma and the barrage of hate speech and physical assaults. In 2021, the Committee of Brisbane Pride Incorporated passed a motion to allow officers of the Queensland Police Service to march in the Brisbane Pride Festival rally and march. We respectfully asked that officers not march in uniform at that time. It was around the same time the committee was made aware of an investigation into QPS officers regarding sexist, racist and homophobic social media posts. In Queensland, there exists a long-term distrust in the QPS amongst members of our community because of the historical homophobia, abuse, brutality, racism and unsafe behaviours against LGBTIQ+ people, their families and their communities. As a unique community organisation with over 30 years of history, and with that history being one of a community-led pride, we felt we had a responsibility to ensure those elders, those ageing, senior community members, those trans, gender diverse and non-binary community members, and our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members who have experienced police brutality and homophobia, heard a strong acknowledgement of their trauma and the impacts that it has had on our LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy communities. By taking this position, Brisbane Pride was able to open a constructive and meaningful dialogue with Queensland Police Service, and we achieved the historic outcome that the community for so long have sought: an apology. Brisbane Pride Incorporated welcome the apology and the statement of regret. Collectively, we share this historical milestone and the fullness of its hope into the future. This includes Queensland police officers marching proudly in uniform, proud of who they are as members of our LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy communities. As we progress through the milestones, as we progressed through milestones in 2021 and 2022, Brisbane Pride Committee has since passed a motion affirming our support for officers to march alongside the community proudly in their uniforms. We look forward to continuing to walk together on this journey, a journey that recognises the past and unifies our collective bravery together into the future. This apology is the first formal sign of recognition and ownership that our communities have received, and we have been seeking this for decades. It provides a meaningful starting point with a legitimate purpose to change the way our communities are seen and the way our communities are treated. To grow this journey together, we must continue to listen to the voices and experiences of our LGBTIQ+ sister girl and brother boy communities across our state. We welcome the ownership of the issues by the Commissioner and her team. It is a genuine place to continue conversations from and the foundation for our community's legacy. And as I've mentioned in the engagement session, and I will mention again today, future generations. The legacy that we leave behind collectively, the future generations, they will build on those in their ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Beck. And I commend you and the Brisbane Pride Incorporated Committee for your patience and commitment to shape this apology with us and for your hope for our future. Guests, that concludes the formal part of this event today. So I now invite you to join the Commissioner in some refreshments at the back of the room. The Commissioner, our champions and our members look forward to catching up with you for a chat, a yarn, and to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.